My name is Roz Feldman, and I'm standing for City Council for Wards 2 and 6 in Brampton. Why am I running? I'm running because I've been working towards this for the last 37 years. That's how long I've lived in Heartlake. When I first moved into Heartlake, there was nothing. We had no schools, we had no buses, we had no mall, we had no 407, no 410. But one thing that really got us was the fact that they wanted to charge us long distance rates to Toronto. And that was the first fight that we took on. Paul Palesci, Peter Robertson and myself fought Mabel. We took on a giant conglomerate and we won. Took a lot of phone calls, took a lot of meetings, took a lot of writing letters, but eventually they saw our side of it, and that's why you're no longer paying long distance rates to Toronto. Emboldened by that success, we then took on Canada Post, because at that time Canada Post was not delivering door to door, and now we're going backwards instead of forwards, and they're taking door to door delivery off again. But at that time the mailboxes were over at the post office, and everybody had to go over to the post office to get their mail. So we requested door to door delivery. And again, it was a major fight. And again, it was Paul, Peter, and myself who did the fighting. And eventually, Canada Post saw our view. And again, we got what we wanted. We got door-to-door delivery. After that, it was the schools. At that time, I was the head of the PTA for not just the school in the area, but also for Brampton. And we needed schools in the area. We spoke to the school board, and they said it would be approximately 5 years before it would even be on the drawing board, that they had no intentions of putting a school into Heartlake at that time. Judy Parker and I decided that that just wasn't good enough. We did up a survey, we went door to door with that survey, and we asked people, do you have kids in the school system just now? What ages are they? Do you have kids going into the school system? Do you have younger kids that's at home? Are you pregnant? I mean, we were really cheeky about it, and we got the answers. And once we got the answers, we put it all into a graph. We bypassed the appeal board because they were doing nothing for us, and we went straight to Bet Stevenson, Dr. Bet Stevenson, who was the education minister at that time. Judy and I were quite prepared to camp out on her doorstep until she spoke to us. We took down our sleeping bags, we took down a Calagas stove, and we were quite prepared to just sit there. But Bet Stevenson did talk to us. She looked at the graphs, she looked at all the letters that we had, and she said, okay, let's see what we can do. 2 years later, Somerset School opened, 5 years ahead of plan. So I have worked for the area. I worked for the rec centre, I worked for the library, and the last thing that I worked for was against the high rises. Now, that was not, I've never done anything on my own, don't get me wrong. There's always been a committee. The committee could maybe have just been two people, like Judy and I, or Scott and I, or Wayne and I. There's always just been somebody else with me. But we have fought hard for everything that we have in Heartlake, from the buses, the bus terminal, the rec centre, the library, and as I say, the last one was the high rises. And in that one, there was a big committee. There was a fabulous committee that worked on the high rises. That was a long process. We worked against that 32 years ago. They were going to put high rises in on that land, and we worked against it. That's at the corner of Sandalwood and Conestoga, because there wasn't the infrastructure to support it. We have still no infrastructure to support 7 high-rise buildings. It's just ridiculous. It was absolutely nonsense to even think about putting in 7 high rises, one 32-story high. So we fought it. We fought it at the OMB, we fought it at City Council. Thank God the Mayor was on our side, Paul Palesci was on our side, and eventually the rest of Council were also on our side, and they all turned it down, which gave us the momentum to go forward with it. We had a lot of the newspapers on our side. Some of them thought it was NIMBYism, and I soon put them right on that, because NIMBYism had absolutely nothing to do with it. It was the wrong place, the wrong size, far too big for the area. You cannot suddenly put 7 high rises in the middle of a village. It just cannot be done. So we fought it, and thank God, touch wood, God is with us, and the high rises are no more. There is going to be stacked townhouses on that land, and much as I still think they're a bit too much for the area, it's a lot better than 7 high rises. Plus. So as I say, I have been working towards this for 37 years. The time that I have lived in Heart Lake, I have done nothing but fight for the people of Heart Lake, for the families, for the children, for the schools, for everything that has gone on in Heart Lake. Now I feel, I never ever wanted to go on council. I always felt that I could do more damage on the outside fighting, but now I feel it's time to go on council and do some fighting on the inside. There are things that I want to see changed. There's a lot of things that I want to see changed. I think we have to redo downtown Brampton. We have to fight for a second hospital. What we have going in is a glorified walk-in clinic. That is no use. We're the 9th largest city. We have 1 hospital, and that is ridiculous. We need another hospital. We need an extension to the 410. We need high rises, but in the proper places along the Queen Street corridor. We need a hotel. We're a huge community, and we've got no hotel convention centre in the downtown core. The downtown core has to be revamped. We were hoping, or I was hoping anyway, that the Rose Theatre was going to be what was needed to revamp the downtown core. Hasn't worked out that way. There's still a lot of things downtown that needs to be changed. The LRT, I'm for it, but on our terms, not on Mississauga's terms. I think it's an excellent idea, and I think it's something that we need. We do need extra transportation, that's for sure. I think we need bike lanes, but with bolsters down so that cars can no longer stop in the bike lane. Because if you see it at the present moment, you've got bikes jutting out into the middle of nowhere. Or into traffic rather, not into nowhere, but into traffic. The 410, Metrolinx is putting in an extension to the 410. They're putting in 2 new lanes. But 1 lane on each side is going to be HOV. Is an HOV lane really what we need? There are people that say yes. I'm not one of them. I don't think an HOV lane is good for our situation. There's too many roads off of the 410 for an HOV lane to work. And at the present moment, I just drove the 403 day before yesterday. You've got cars jutting in and out, whatever the heck they feel like it, because the car in the front is doing 90. And if the car in the front is doing 90, you're going to have cars coming out, whatever the heck they feel like it, and jutting back in again in front of the slow mover. So yeah, there are things that need to be done. I'd like to see, we've got a problem here with gangs. We've got a definite problem here with gangs. And I think we have to get the police on side to do something about it. What are some of the other things that I'd like to see for Brampton? I'd like to see more things in the Heart Lake and Ward 6 area, in the Ward 2 and 6 area. Everything is downtown Toronto, or downtown Brampton rather, or downtown Toronto. Let's bring some of the things up into our wards, so that we've got some things going on up in our wards. If you want to get a hold of me, please call me. I need your vote, and I'm asking for your vote. My name is Roz Feldman. I'm running for Ward 2 and 6 in Brampton, and for City Council, you can get me at Roz at Feldman Brampton. That's FELDMANBRAMPTON.ca. Phone number is 905-846-3750. Hold on to it. You're going to need it. Thank you.